Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode on writing clean code. Today, we'll be looking at the structure of Goravel, just like we have here. Earlier made a video on how you can install and get started with Goravel framework, especially for those coming from Laravel experience. It's going to be a smooth transition to Goravel. Goravel is a framework that is built under Go. It's actually fast rising, and I highly recommend it. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the structure, try to understand which folders and what they do, and also look at how you can run migrations and how your models will look like basically. Yeah, so if it's your first time come here, I'm excited to have you here. You're highly welcome, and please subscribe and stay with us as we explore on the journey of writing clean code. What we do here basically is to learn how we can write code that will be more outstanding, maintainable, and easy to read. Yeah, so let's quickly dive into Goravel. So first thing here we have a folder, and it's called app, and this application. So this app contains the core application logic, including your models, your controllers, and your providers. So that's what it holds. It holds your basic logic. So if you come to the inside the folder here, we have your console. What console does, it houses your CLL commands for various tasks, like if you're running a migration or whatsoever you are seeding data in Ravel. This is basically called command. It holds all of those data. Yeah, and then if you come to your HTTP, your HTTP contain the controller and the middleware. If I open it, you see your controller and the middleware, and this is where your business logic goes, and this is your middleware, which handles certain conditions before your logic is processed basically. Yeah, so we'll be getting into details, but your gRPC, what it does is also has this your certain logic, but this is basically for microservice. Yeah, so if you're looking at going to microservice, you're building a microservice application, then this is where your controllers are going to be coming in. And we have your models, which contain all your database model, like your user, your post, your field, your comment, and all of those models are going to come under here. And then you mapping your relationship depending on the kind of database you're using and all of that. And then we also have the next thing we have here is your providers. So what your providers basically, what is it bootstrap your application by binding services in the service container, registering events, and performing any other tasks that's prepared for the application for an incoming request. Yeah, so that's what your providers done. So that's it for the app. So going into your bootstrap, your bootstrap handle application bootstrapping and configuration. So everything, the configuration and how the application is going to bootstrap is done here in the bootstrap. If you come and if you look at app, so the next thing we have is configuration. Configuration basically what it does is it stores configuration for files for various aspects of your application. So there are different aspects of your application. If you come to your app here, you can configure your time zone. You can either keep it on debugging mode or not. And then if you're in production, you can change the name of your application and all of those things. So it handles most of your configuration for various aspects of your system. Like if you're looking at your HTTP, it's going to configure your database, going to help you configure your cache, your authentication, your login, your JWT token, your queues, your emails, and all of that. So that's what config does. It's actually a very powerful aspect of Goravel. So the next thing we have here is your database. Your database, what it does basically, it has your migrations and your seeders, where you run migrations for each table you are creating, and then you have your seeders. If you want to preview your database with data, you run your seeders there. Yeah. So the next thing we have here is your application, your public. Your public serve as the public directory for some assets, like your CSS, your JavaScript, your images, and all of that. So you can have them there. And then the next thing we have here is your resources. Excuse me. Your resources contain additional resources like your views. It helps you to render your application to the users to be able to see and see it very well. So if you could look at welcome here, you see more. This is in a different template, but more of your HTML written here. So if you come to your route define the route for handling incoming requests. So here we have if you're having incoming requests for your API, or you're having for your microservice, or you're having for your web, all of them will come here. Yeah. So we have store which will help you store temporary files like your images and all of that. So it just help you to store application temporary data, and you can also see your logs. If there's any issues, you see your logs there. And then we have test. So test will just help you. If you come here, you see future test to help you where this is where your test will come in, and your unique test and your future test and all of that, all of those things. So those are the folders. So the next thing we have here is like your env, which is going to handle your environment variables and all of those variables, like your application name, if your application is on local or whatsoever, your port, your host, and your database configuration depending on the database you're using. By default is MySQL, and you can choose to use anyone. If you go to your config, you see all the databases, and then you can decide to use anyone. You see Postgres and SQLite, and all of those things. So the next thing you have is your .env.example. What it does is that it holds those things that are coming to your env. Is going to be there in that if there are changes, if you have something here, you add it here, so that because this does not go to you cannot push this to Git. So anything changes you made, you add it here so that your teammate can actually take notice of it. And then we have your Docker here. If you want to Dockerize your application, this is where it goes. And then we also have your go.mod. Go.mod, what it does basically is it tracks and manages a dependency for your Goravel project. So it manages all your dependency, so that it specifies the exact version of your external packages that your code relies on. All the packages you're using and the versions and all of those things. So go.mod handle that. And if you have here go.sum now, it ensures the integrity and the security of your project dependency. You store things like the cryptographic and all of those things to make sure that everything is listed in the go.mod. And it prevents accidental or malicious modification to your dependency. So that's what this guy does. It's very, 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 very important. And then we have your go, the main.go is where your application is kickstart. If you see, it imports your bootstrap so that you actually run your project very well. So that is just it. And then we have your readme where you can actually ensure that you document your application properly for the next person looking at it. So that is just it for if you are looking at the all the folders in your go.mo in your Goravel. So it's actually just like Laravel. So that's just it for the folders. So let's look at how you can actually create a migration. So creating a migration, just like we do in Laravel, you have a command, PHP artisan that make a migration. But here it's Go, so we're going to have something like Go run, and then you have a dot, then you have artisan make migration. So let's call it create user. Let's get user table, and let's see what it will give us. If you see, we have successfully created a user table. If you come to your migrations, you see it is here. Those were already created, that's why they are here. But if you come inside, you see that they have been dropped and all of those things. So if you come here where we have created a new user, we have give it an ID, and they created that and updated that. Those are the columns that come by default. And then you can come in here and decide to add your columns. For example, I want to add UU. This I want to add UUID. UUID is UUID, and then it should be unique. UUID is unique. This is more like your universal unique identifier. Your ID is your identifier, but this one is a universal unique identifier. Yeah. So we're adding that column, which is going to be universal unique identifier. And then let's say we want to add our user first name. We're going to have a voucher, because this is like a string. Let's say his name cannot be more than 50. And then we can say the name cannot be as well, not empty. It cannot be empty. Then I can easily copy this and paste here and say this is his last name. His last name should not be more than 50 words. We have his email, should not be more than 50, or let's make it 100 and make it whichever you chooses. And your password cannot be more than 100 as well. So this is defining the kind of data we want to store, basically. So this is how you write your migrations and all of this. This is the size, and this is the data type, and this is the column name, basically. Yeah, and all of these are in user. So if I come here and I say, if I say this, all right, so this will not work now. I remember we have not installed, we have not imported from Google. GitHub/Google/ UUID, so that will not actually work fine. So let's run this and see what we have. Yeah, we have migrated successfully. So if you come here and refresh our DB, let's see what we have here. See, we have all these columns here. See, we have all these columns here. So that is just how you can run your migration. And if you let's look at our model. For you to make a model, let's come here. We already have a model here, and I've added most of this data here. But if you want to make a model, I think you start go on artisan, make model. Let's call this model post. Yeah, we have successfully made a model called post. So this is how you make a model. Yeah, and then this is to also come here, and from what we have here, this is our struct. Struct is just a short word for structure. What it does is that hold the blueprint of user that we have here. And what this does is that this help you handle things like your ID, your created ad, and your updated ad. It handles all those things for you. And this is what we have already removed, because we have not imported some of those things. We'll be talking about it in the future. We import it here actually, but that is what it means. But we can remove it for now, because I removed it before migrating the database, so it's not okay to have it. So we can have this. We're saying our name should not be empty, and this all of this should not be empty, and all of this should be a string, all of that. So later we can hash this password, but for now this is where we'll be stopping, guys. I will link the documentation so that you can also take a look at it in the description. Yeah, so please hit the subscribe button and drop in your comment, and let's keep it going. Thanks, guys. Do have a nice day.